The Emperor's New Clothes. Once upon a time, in a prosperous kingdom nestled between rolling hills and glistening rivers, there lived an emperor who was known far and wide for his love of fine clothes. He spent countless hours in his luxurious palace, draped in the finest fabrics and adorned with the most exquisite jewels. The emperor had a weakness for fashion, and he spared no expense in ensuring that he was always dressed in the latest styles. One day, two cunning weavers arrived at the emperor's city. They were not ordinary weavers, but were known throughout the land as master craftsmen who could weave the most magnificent fabrics imaginable. They claimed they could create clothes of such extraordinary beauty that they would be invisible to anyone who was unfit for their position or just plain stupid. The news of these weavers' abilities quickly spread throughout the kingdom, reaching the emperor's ears. Intrigued and eager to possess such unique garments, the emperor summoned the weavers to his palace. When the weavers arrived, they bowed low before the emperor and promised to make him the most splendid outfit he had ever seen. They set up two looms in a room within the palace and began their work. Day after day, the weavers pretended to weave, their hands moving skillfully over the empty looms. They spoke of the intricate patterns and vibrant colors they were creating, describing the clothes in vivid detail to the emperor and his courtiers. The emperor, although unable to see any fabric being woven, dared not admit that he saw nothing, fearing he might be deemed unfit for his position or considered stupid. Instead, he nodded and praised the weaver's craftsmanship, eagerly anticipating the moment when he would don his new clothes. Finally, the weavers announced that the emperor's clothes were ready. They mimed dressing him in the imaginary garments, arranging folds that weren't there and adjusting sleeves that hung empty. The emperor gazed into the mirror, pretending to admire his reflection, while his advisors and ministers marveled at the invisible fabric, afraid to admit that they too saw nothing. The day of the grand procession arrived, where the emperor would proudly display his new clothes to his subjects. The streets were lined with cheering crowds, all eager to catch a glimpse of the emperor's legendary attire. The emperor walked through the city, parading in his invisible clothes, pretending to adjust non-existent cuffs and straighten an imaginary collar. As the emperor passed, a small child in the crowd peered up at him and exclaimed, "But he isn't wearing anything at all." The hushed whisper spread through the crowd, and soon everyone began to murmur and laugh. The emperor, realizing the truth, blushed deeply but continued the procession, too proud to admit the deception. The weavers, realizing their trick had been uncovered, quickly fled the city, leaving behind their empty looms and the embarrassed emperor. From that day on, the emperor learned a valuable lesson about vanity and the importance of honesty. Though he continued to enjoy fine clothes, he never again trusted in appearances alone, remembering the innocent words of a child who saw the truth when others could not. And so, the tale of the emperor's new clothes became a cautionary story, reminding all who heard it that sometimes what appears to be the most magnificent can be nothing more than an illusion.